Hi, this is Nick Tierce, and you're listening to Inspirado Projecto.
April 11th, 9:21 a.m. I woke from a dream where Pauly Shores and I were... I think we had plans. I thought we had plans to go to Cancun, hang out. I thought we were going to Cancun. And then also, I had plans with my friend Sarah Haynes, who ended up changing her name to Sarah Tiana. She's a comedian. And we were going to meet her, I think, in Cancun. But on the way there, while Paulie and I were joking around on this bus. We were taking a bus, like a Greyhound bus. We were there, and this girl, that's what it was. Okay. I think before we went on this journey, I ended up getting a friend request from a girl who resembles the character Joe on Eureka. And I had gotten a friend request from her on Facebook. And before we got on the bus, I was looking at my TikTok and I realized I was already I was like, why does this woman's pictures look familiar on Facebook? And so then I'm like, I think she's a friend of mine on TikTok. So I went on a TikTok, and sure enough, I had followed her, and she was following me. We were friends with each other on TikTok. And so she was there on the bus. We were both flipping out. And I'm going, this is crazy that you're sitting next to us. You just sent me a friend request. We're already friends on TikTok. And then she's telling me that she likes TikToks of mine, particular ones, and I told her of hers, I like hers. And so as we're talking, I get the idea that she's going up to Cancun, and she's flirting with me, or at least I think she is. I've been misguided before, and it just turned out they were... Anyway, so I felt like we were having a really good rapport, and she's like, oh yeah, so are we gonna hang out? And suddenly I'd forgotten that I was going to meet Sarah there. In real life, Sarah is married, has a kid. So, I don't know how that plays into the dreamscape here. So, so she's like, so the bus pulls in, and I'm like, she's like, oh, so I can go with you guys? I said, so you're going to Cancun? And then Paulie goes, no, we're going to Pittsburgh. I go, oh, we're going to Pittsburgh. And I'm like, hold on, we got to go in to this place. Because I think the bus was pulling into this place, and I got the idea that I think Paulie and I were going to wait around there. But also I had the idea that, because it had the vibe of a hotel. Like it was like a bus depot, but also a hotel of some sort. And so I think we were staying there for a night before the bus was going to take us up to Pittsburgh, or that place is our destination. I don't know. But I go in to the place. I think we're going to pay for something or something. And all of a sudden, at first I thought it was she bent me over to kiss me. You know, she kissed me, bent me over, and then we fell in the pool. I thought it was me that she had kissed. But, and at that moment, Paulie goes running up the stairs into the hotel. But then I felt myself running with him, and I was like, wait. He's like, aren't you in the pool? And I'm like, what? Wait, yeah, I thought I was. I was confused. I run down the stairs, back out to the pool. It turns out it was a guy who happened to be there with his buddies, and he was the one who kissed her, and he splashed her in the pool. And all of a sudden she was wearing her... Oh. But see, that was the weird thing. Because at some point, it felt like I was underwater. I climbed out of it. I was worried that I had my cell phone in my pants. I was worried she had her cell phone in her pants. But anyway, that was not me that she kissed that went in the pool. It was some guy who kissed her. They went in the pool. So I'm standing up there, and she's laughing and giggling with the guy. And she's like, looking at me, or like that, like almost like because I didn't make a move, you know, because this guy was the first one to make a move. This is now the new path that she's going. And so I'm like, oh, so you're going to stay here? Or... And she's like, and the guy's like, yeah. And I said, oh, well, how long are you staying here? He's like, a few days. And then he's like looking over at her. And he's like, yeah, she's gonna be staying with me for a few days while I'm here. And I said, oh, all right. And as I'm walking away, I feel something like hit my head. And he's like, oh, sorry, I accidentally threw that lemon at your head. Didn't mean to hit you, or something like that. And then I walked around the pool, and I think as I was walking around the pool, I fell into the pool or something. And I got back out of the pool. And then I woke up. I took one supplemental capsule of the Haritaki mushroom last night, and slept with the selenite crystal. These dreams are getting stronger, so it's really cool. It just would be neat if I could somehow tell these stories linearly. I'll get to that point where I'll be able to just remember it, recall it. Hello, it is 6 p.m. Today's the 15th. Looks like we got about 70-something days until official UFO disclosure. Of course, many of you listening most likely already have experienced contact from our star family or seen something up in the sky. We're starting to see a lot more sightings now. Ever since we got the yet another confirmation that we've been that our government has been in contact with the Galactic Federation. Ever since we got confirmation of that, boy, that was on the cusp of 2021. That was right there on the cusp. When my buddy told me about it, it was December 29th. I would say that was a slightly late Christmas present. It's pretty cool, huh? So when he told me about it, it was on the 29th. However, I think it was technically, the news was technically released on January 1st, 2021, which is a happy belated Christmas present and an extraordinary New Year's Day present. So check that out. If you haven't read that article yet, check that out. Look up, I think it was the Jerusalem Times. They were the first ones to break the story. It was an Israeli space security chief. It's interesting when you think about that. Space security. You can't help but wonder, why would something like that be invented? Why would a position like that be invented? Space security. Security from what in space? You know, you can't help but wonder. So what was it? Yeah, Jerusalem Times? Anyway, that's when they announced that we have been in contact with the Galactic Federation. And then it just steamrolled from there. More and more sightings. I don't know if you know, last night there was a questionable object over the White House. Apparently the websites were down. And then there was a triangular thing that was actually confirmed by the Pentagon. There's something that's called Project Blue Beam, I believe.
and people have talked about this for a long time. And by people, I would say those who are labeled as conspiracy theorists by the populace. So as soon as someone is labeled a conspiracy theorist, then it's just thrown into a pile. It's like, oh, okay, disregard that information. It's probably just some conspiracy theorist, rather than actually looking closely at the information and kind of thinking about it and really, looking closely at it, looking at the sources. Oh my God, the Mandalorian guy with the Yoda baby is passing by. Yes! Oh my God, dude. I've seen this guy on TikTok. He just passed by. Oh my God, the Mandalorian on a skateboard with baby Yoda on his back. He just passed by. Oh my God, that's awesome. It's awesome. Wow, man, we are living in quite a world, huh? Wowzers, we are living in quite a world. I didn't know that guy lived out here. Oh my God, dude. He waved to me. Oh my God, I gave him the nanu signal. He waved to me. Oh my God, that's brilliant. That is so exciting. That is so exciting. Holy moly. Holy moly. Oh my God, this is exciting. Had I not decided to go out right now, I'm going to get some money. I'm going to get a haircut. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Oh my God. Oh my God. So, the idea here is that since the government has obtained the information from our space friends, about the technology and all that jazz, what they're going to do is they're going to stage fake alien invasions. This is part of what they call Project Bluebeam. Fake alien invasions. This is something that actually Dr. Stephen Greer has talked about for a long time, and it's been all over the place in various places. And so it's interesting because that's what many people are thinking is amping up here with more and more of these UFO sightings, to kind of get the populace used to these kinds of conversations. It's been appearing more and more that all of these things labeled as conspiracy theories are actually truth. They're arriving more and more to the surface lately. Quite interesting. So the Project Bluebeam is the idea is that there's going to be a fake alien invasion, and then our military is going to bring down the aircraft, and we're going to be like, oh my gosh, the government, wow, what heroes. And but really it's a distraction for something else, which I'm not going to get into at the moment. I have some theories. As I mentioned in the last episode, very, very interesting people have been finding me through TikTok due to the content I've been putting up there, and so I guess they're feeling safe with me in telling me this information. And one of them is a woman who has a son who I think is a modern-day Nostradamus, and so I'm going to interview this kid. He's got tons of information, and a lot of the stuff that he's been talking about has been matching up perfectly with stuff that his mom has never even told him, that he hasn't even heard of. So anytime I guess she feels safe with me to talk to me about this stuff. She doesn't really have any friends that she can talk to about this, or who will have an open enough mind to receive this kind of information and consider it. So the idea is that there's going to be a fake alien invasion, and then our government is going to, knock the UFOs out of the sky, what have you, and then they're going to look like the big heroes of the day. So we shall see how it all unfolds. It's really, really quite intriguing. But anyway, for today, For today, getting some cashola here for a well overdue haircut. I kind of want to go for the Keanu Reeves look. It's gotten very long. I want to go for the Keanu Reeves look, where he's got sort of long hair, but it's well kept, well kempt. I think that's what they say, kempt. It's funny. I'm wearing this mask that I got on Wish. It's a Salvador Dali face mask, and so it's got his mouth with the mustache. And this is the first time that I've actually worn it out into the populace. So it's funny to see people's reactions to me, because as you've probably seen with these face masks that people have gotten, there are those custom face masks that people can get where it's where it puts their face on the mask. But in all these cases, it spreads their face out. It makes it like really wide and strange and very out of there's something hanging up. George. That person was driving. There was something dragging on their car. And this is quite a day. This is quite a day. Oh. Hey there. You like my you know who this is? Salvador Dali. It's funny. I ordered this on Wish, and it looks so funny in the mirror. It's like the whole thing is just really wide. It looks much different in the picture, but man, I'm getting such a kick out of people looking at me going, what the heck is that all about? Let's see. Can I have one of these little guys right here? Yeah. Crap. I know you got a charge on there, which is fine. Oh. There we go. Do you ever watch that TV show, The Mandalorian? You've never seen it? Do you like Star Wars? Did you like Star Wars growing up? No? It's a new Star Wars TV show. But there's a guy who dresses like the character in the TV show. He looks like one of the characters. He just drove by in a skateboard earlier. It was amazing. Anyway, take care. Oh man, so crazy. So that's the thing, is that if you guys start seeing these alien invasions happening, just know you heard it here. Well, I don't want to say you heard it here first. I don't know. Maybe you did. Maybe you did hear it here first. It's also possible that you've already heard this before, and I'm just reaffirming something you've already known. So that's going to be quite an interesting thing, right? Like, what? It's like, can't you guys just simply admit to the fact that you've been covering up your knowledge of UFOs? Can't you just simply admit to that fact and just go, hey, let's become friends with these guys? Why do you have to? Why do you gotta have some kind of agenda behind it? The powers that be, they really want to control us. But that's the crazy thing, is that with the idea of manifesting your own reality, everything that's happening right now is just one possible moment out of one possible choice out of all the possible choices out there. So knowing that, like for instance, today there was a version of me that did not go out to get money for my haircut, which means that I would not have seen The Mandalorian. Okay? Or I would have gone out earlier to get the money for my haircut, or I would have gone out later, or I would have decided not to get a haircut at all. So all of those possibilities exist simultaneously, all at once at the same time. And the more that we realize that we are in charge of our own destiny, that we're just basically, we're picking out moment to moment, choice by choice, the realities that already exist. Okay, those realities already exist, and we're just inviting them in. It's been said that we blink in and out of existence billions of times a second. We're in another reality, in another reality, in another reality. So, how interesting is that? We're just surfing along with our highest joys. Some people are driven by fear, some are driven by worry. Oh gosh, I better not do that because this terrible thing might happen. And or people are driven by, excitement. They're driven by the things that they want to see happen in their lives. So either way, you're right? Either way. Want me to leave this open? Either way, you're right. There you go. Yeah. Either way, we're right. Whatever we're choosing at that moment. So, oh God. I ordered that Salvador Dali mask on Wish. This is the first, I think, this kind of style. It seems tighter against my face. I had to take it off. Now I'm in my building. That one was, that one's a much different kind. So, things are moving, things are grooving. Life is evolving to a point where, all of these unexpected situations are occurring. Maybe you yourself have just thought it was just silly to believe in UFOs. Maybe you thought it was a ridiculous notion that there were any other beings out there in the world. Maybe you've personally had friends who claim to have been abducted or seen things, and maybe you just laughed it off and said, no, you don't know what you're talking about. You were stoned, or you had a fever that night, or whatever. Some things appear to us in the most unexpected, astounding, paranormal ways that science will most likely never be around to confirm for you. And so that's kind of like your own choice to discern, to decide whether it's something that resonates with you or something that doesn't resonate with you. Many times, as we know, the power of persuasion, the power of pressure, peer pressure. Many times we've heard all about that. I do this because of that. I do this because of that. There was a great, there was a short story. Who wrote it? Was it John Steinbeck? Oh. There's a story where I remember reading it in 8th grade, and it was such a poignant, such an awesome story about doing what you feel is right, not going with the group mind, not doing something just because there were a bunch of voices barking at you or trying to make you feel guilty for not doing something. And we already know what happens with the mob mentalities. We already, we know what happens there. And hi, little Marky. Hi, little dude. Little Marky. Hi, little dude. Hi. And in this story, I think it was John Steinbeck. I don't know. I'm misquoting it. But the story was he was there, and there was an elephant. And for whatever reason, someone gave him the gun, or he had a gun, and this whole village basically was around him chanting, "Kill the elephant, kill the elephant, kill the elephant." And it was such a wonderful story in the thought process that went on in his brain as he's going, if I shoot this elephant, is it something that I want to be doing, or is it something that I'm doing because of the, excitement, or that all these other people want me to do it, or what would the point be? So he did not end up shooting the elephant, to the dismay of everyone. But it was such an interesting thing when you imagine all the ways in which there can be, if you switch the opposite of that, where it's good vibes, good things happening. Right now, if we had people sitting, just sitting on the sidewalks, unitedly, just meditating for harmony, meditating upon the connections between us. I recently got an email from Screen Actors Guild, and they said, join us for the, anti-racism, join us for the anti-racism conversation. And I said, well, I would join you guys. I replied, I said, I would join this conversation if it was a for unity conversation, if it was a pro-connection conversation. Then people are looking in their minds, they're going there with the intention of going, let's find the connections between everyone. Let's transcend. Let's just hit the reset button right now. This time of what's going on, many are calling it the Great Reset. December 21st, 2021 was the opening of that. And ushered in the age of Aquarius. So things are going to look topsy-turvy. This is a time to stick to becoming the best version of yourself. Tuning into becoming the best version of yourself. Yes, everyone's had traumas. A lot of folks don't even talk about them. A lot of those folks are not even going out and getting diagnosed. Some people are begging to get diagnosed for, I've never been diagnosed for ADHD, but I need to be. I need to be diagnosed. Well, why? Why? What's the motivation? To tell people about it? Or is it, what? What then? Once we learn that, what then? I just had a shot of Fireball. That's what I bought. That's what I bought at the liquor store. Ooh, that was good. But I said, if it's pro connections, so let's hit the reset button instead of, it's finding out what do we favor, what do we value. What's more important to me? What do I value more? That I identify as an ADHD person, or that I grew up, I had a very tough life having autism and everybody has to hear my story. Or whatever, any number of those things, any of those things. You know, I was diagnosed with diabetes at a very young age, and and that's the story that's constantly being told, and then that's the hamster wheel, and then how do you get past that? But the thing is, how do we get past that? How do we reveal the best version of ourselves? I don't think any of us really want to have anyone pity us. I mean, I don't want anyone pitying me. And that's just a manipulative leverage, I would say. Like, okay, we got to give that guy slack. Why? That guy just, broke into my car, let out all the air in the tires, stole my family heirloom. Why? Why do I got to give that guy slack? Well, he was diagnosed with this thing, so, we really... Well... Okay, all right. Okay, so he was diagnosed with that. He's aware of it. So is he trying to change? Or is he just using that as his crutch to always lean on so he can get away with doing stuff? So how do we find the connections? The best news source is source. Connecting. So if SAG said this is a pro-connections, pro-unity, cooperation effort, find the commonalities. Every commonality is a yes. I just look at the commonalities between yes, no, light, dark. Light is on, light is off. Yes, movement. Yes, movement. Yes. All right, cool, yeah, oh yeah. Open, free, no is shackles. Light, ooh, I can see what's going on. Yes. Oh, cool. More people light up, more stuff is revealed. Dark, oh, I fear the unknown. I don't know what's in that shadow over there. Oh, could be something horrible. Competition versus collaboration, cooperation. I heard a great one from Esther Hicks the other day. Regurgitation, or do you regurgitate? Are you a regurgitator or are you a creator? Do you create your life? Or do you find yourself regurgitating old experiences, always regurgitating the old experiences? I had a friend who would always listen to the same playlist. And my friend would always tell me the same stories. And that playlist was created, interestingly enough, when you see the parallels between it, the playlist was created back during the times that all of these stories took place. So that playlist was constant reminder. You know how powerful music is, just like smells. They're time machines. They take you back to that time. That's why so many people love the yacht rock music. It brings them back to simpler times, brings them back to the, party times. Ooh, feel good music. Ooh, another one. I remember this at my prom. We were dancing. I remember this when I got my first car and I would just blast this song. Oh, man, yeah. So we know how powerful music is. And so my friend would just play the same playlist over and over, and I'd hear the same stories. And the stories were, in most cases, low vibration. That was the reservoir of information that my friend was continually going back to feed from, regurgitate from. I just ate this food. Bleh. Let me vomit it up, okay? Eat it up again. And I had a tricky time wrapping my brain around that. And so I would find myself guiding the conversations towards, okay, well, here we are now. Good news is, here we are now. Those people who did you wrong way back then, they're nowhere in our vicinity. Let's say, for instance, you claim that you can't draw, or you used to like to draw until that teacher said that horrible thing to you, and then you stopped drawing, and, well, where's that teacher now? Why does their opinion matter to you so much? You are the magician. You are the creator of your life. You define it. You define it. Sit in the driver's seat. You are now becoming the authority figure. Allow yourself, give yourself permission to be the authority figure of how things are going to evolve in your life. And I realize sometimes when I say this stuff, it sounds harsh because I'm so frustrated. I'm going, oh. You know when you see something and you just see this great, glorious thing and you're going, oh my gosh, yes, I know that stuff's going on in the gutter. Yes. Yes, I know that's affecting the psychology in a certain way. Yes. Do you want to keep looking in the gutter? No. Okay, cool. Look at this beautiful sunset. Yeah, but what about this thing in the gutter? You know, this thing that happened 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, back when I was 5, 6, whatever. Okay, I'm sorry to hear that. I think we've talked about that ad nauseum. Look at this sunrise. Look at this beautiful. Look at this. Oh. Let's sit here in the presence. Let's have this presence as a present. Let's give ourselves the present of the presence of this moment right now that's happening, that's unfolding before our very eyes. This is the most important thing that's happening right now in our life. Let's cherish this. This is giving us a gift. This is giving us a gift and saying, let's make a new memory. Let's put that in the database. Let's file that away in the archives for a future thing to look back on. Just imagine, how fun would that be if all of our memories were amazing, just like the most enjoyable memories. The most enjoyable memories. Because we chose in that moment to honor our future self. We chose in that moment to go, I'm going to choose to look at this. I'm going to file this away. This is how I'm going to view this conversation. This is how I'm going to view this moment. I'm going to file this away, give it to my future self. Now they can look back on it in fondness and go, whoa, I did it my way. No one else haunted me into doing it their way. No one else peer pressured me into doing it their way. I did it my way. I did it the way that I wanted to. The way that appealed to me. I followed my gut, I followed my heart, my instinct, my intuition. I tuned in. Intuition. Interesting. Wow, intuition. Tuition. We always hear about that word, don't we? Tuition. Oh, I got to pay my tuition. For what? College. What's at college? Learning. What's the best kind of learning? Inner. More later.
Inspirado, it's man. How's it going with your synthesizer that you bought? You been making any music with it or connecting it to your computer? What's it like?
Thank you, man behind the machine, for asking me about that. You know, it's so interesting. It was probably for the past 4 or 5 days. I was just feeling the itch. I'm like, I have got to really buckle down. I've really been diving into TikToks like a madman, and you don't realize how much time that takes up because I like to comment, I like to like what people are saying, I like to reply to what they're saying. Maybe I'll go to their page and then as a what do you call it? In return, as a favor, I return the favor. I like their thing, or I'll comment. And it's a high five, reciprocation, and so it's crazy how much time can pass with something like that. As a result of that, I really haven't been going on my Facebook too often, or every once in a while I'll go on my Instagram and I'll see all these messages. Anyway, I go, okay, I am going to buckle down. I'm going to do this. And then it's interesting because as I would sit down to plug it in, I would get phone calls and or something would happen and I have to help someone out. I'm also still editing a lot of the Q&As. There's maybe about 10 left now. So I'm still editing those, putting those together. And so 2 days ago, I go, okay, I got to learn this because it was so intimidating. Trying to figure out what driver, I don't know the names of my drivers on my computer. It was like, they tell you it's plug and play. And I you trust that. You trust that when it says that, plug and play. But it was like, plug it in and then figure out how all these things work. There's the, what was it called? Analog Lab. Something called Analog Lab. And then there's the Arturia, I like to call it Arcturia, but it's Arturia MK2 Mini Lab. So that's the keyboard itself. Then there's Ableton software. And then you got to, and then just all these little things. All these little things. Making sure that the software is up to date within the within the synthesizer, and then what is there? There's like some kind of a whole separate thing, a mini control center thing. I make sure that is up to date, and then Ableton Live Lite, 10, I think it is. And figuring that out. And so there are all these little things. Okay, what port is this going to go in? Okay, and then I got to figure out what DAW is. And there are all these little things that were new things that had to do with this thing. And so I'm figuring out that software. I made a fun little beat. I did a fun melody. I like the melody. And so I think I just need to see more tutorials. There's a help section within Ableton where it'll kind of help you out with stuff. And it was just like, oh my gosh. Oh man. I'm not a technological person. I learned how to edit. Let's see. I don't want to make that statement out loud. I'm technological in certain ways. Learning technology typically makes me feel like I'm painting myself into a corner. And I am so used to just doing the bass, type. Like I want to just plug and play. I want to be able to do it. Just simple. So I'm learning it. And I'm enjoying my learning experience. I'm enjoying it. And before I know it, I'll have some really fun synthesizer stuff, and I'm going to continue to learn. I've looked up YouTube tutorials. It's interesting because as they say, what is it? Necessity is the mother of invention. And so that's something that I got to figure out. Oliver is cleaning himself. So it breeds invention. So it's like I almost feel like I like no matter what, as thorough as some of these programs are, you find yourself going, oh, I really, I'm such a I need to learn this aspect. I need to learn that aspect. And so I'm learning that through other YouTube tutorials. I'm figuring that stuff out. And you know what? Before we know it, I will be putting those songs right here into the podcast. And what kind of stuff do you what kind of synthesizers, what kind of programs do you use? Do you use Ableton? Do you use Logic? Do you use what do you use out there? There's so many different programs, so many different things to use. And I'd love to hear what you do. I love your synthesizer stuff. You make great tunes. Thank you for asking. And just keep me in your thoughts. Keep me in your vibes. Just send out the vibes. Kurt will master this sooner than later. And, it's interesting because then when you're finding yourself learning a new thing, you're going, oh, what about those other projects, though? What about those whole other things that I have going on? What about all those screenplay ideas that I need to, that I want to, that I've got written down that I want to write? What about, I still got all those Kapow Q&As. And, it's so interesting. I find myself distracting myself with other creative endeavors. So it's funny because when there are those things that seem like, these big, okay, in order for me to do the simple thing, I got to learn all these other things. It's like a game of Zelda. I usually compare things to Game of Zelda when I'm talking about like something simple that I want to do, but then there's all these other things that are involved. It's like, so I find myself distracting myself with creating other things, but it's funny because there's always still progress being made. Even though there's procrast being made in these other areas, there is progress being made in these other areas. And so it's just a fun, crazy juggling game of creating. So it's so interesting. So interesting how it works, huh? Oh, man. One of the things that I'm excited about, I just have this fun balcony out here, but I've got all these painting supplies that are just stacked up, canvases, all just stacked up out there. I had a lot of stuff, and so my sister and I went through, I just had all these clothes that are out there. My clothing rack fell over. It buckled under the weight of all these clothes. I couldn't bring myself to, definitely could not bring myself to throwing out clothes. And I wanted to donate these things, but I wanted to wash them first. Oh, just a long story. But they're all out there on the balcony. And so my sister and I, we were like, okay, Mom's coming to town. Let's clear up that balcony. Make it look presentable, have fun. And as we're doing it, just having a partner in crime, having someone else there, it just feels so good. And it's a subliminal, it's a subconscious thing. Our environment is definitely a reflection of our state of mind. And the more our environment becomes convoluted and crazy, the more our own mind becomes convoluted and crazy. So, yeah, it just felt so good to go out and wash those clothes. We went up to this thrift store, dropped all those off, all these old DVDs. Oh, that felt like such a relief. Oh, it feels so good. It's like, ooh, now I got to clean my room. It's just, but there's more out that are on the balcony. I just got to clear that out. And then you don't have that subliminal weight that's just like back there. Procrastination monsters. So that felt so good to get rid of that. And thank you again for asking another question that just unlocked a whole inventory. An infantry of inventory. An infantry of inventory. Thank you, man behind the machine. Everybody, please check out his podcast. It's top of the pops.
Hey, Inspirado, what do you think about AMC pulling all their videos and putting them on HBO Max? They're taking them out of theaters and putting them on that service. What do you think about AMC? Is this the demise of the movie theaters or what? Or Hollywood?
Thank you for another great question, man behind the machine. Gosh, that's such an interesting thing. There's such a great vibe that happens when you share watching a movie with a group of other people. You all kind of get into that same mind zone and can for those who can suspend their disbelief, everybody gets to dream together with that. I don't know. It's so interesting. When we did Kapow, we used Lemley, and they had a hard time moving along, because they would charge us to rent the theater more and more each year. Like it felt like $1,000 more each year. In fact, for 2019, the very last week before, we had a certain agreement, and then about a week or two before we were about to have the film festival, they raised the price they raised it another $1,000. So this year, when we did our film festival for 2000, or at the beginning of 2001, I guess, it was all online. It was on Filmocracy. So I liked that. We didn't have to pay that $10,000 in rent for that week. I think we paid a base amount of $1,000. And it was all online. It was 10 days, 24 hours a day. We had, rather than having a certain amount of time allotted each day at a theater, where I think it was on the weekdays. The theater would open at 1. And then I think the last movie that we could show was like at 11 p.m. or something. And then we'd have to account for at least a half an hour in between each block of movies, whether it was a feature film or whether it was a block of movies. Sometimes it was an hour-and-a-half block or 2-hour block. We'd have to factor in a half an hour where, for Q&As and for the theater folks to come in and clean it. And I like to have my Q&As would usually run long. I'd like to have at least 20 minutes, really to dive into these. Because filmmakers are spending X amount of dollars to enter their film. Sometimes a late fee could get as high as some festivals like $85. And that's people are paying that with the hopes that they're going to get accepted to a film festival. They don't know for sure. and they don't know what time their screening is going to be or anything. That's just a hope that they're going to get accepted, a hope that they'll be seen, a hope that maybe there'll be a distributor in the audience who sees it and goes, oh, yeah, I want to put that out. So I'm kind of viewing this thing from a different perspective. I haven't been to a movie theater in a long time, so I'm speaking purely from my own selfish perspectives here. What is that? What is it? How does that phrase go? When a door closes, another one opens? Or the idea of water. Water always finds a way to flow where it's got to flow. So wherever there are going to be places where it looks like walls or, like, oh, we can't do this, there's always something that opens up. And God, it's tricky to tell. Everybody these days, they want to have their own streaming services and just put them on there. I have a Fire Stick, and I use an app called Cinema. I think it's called Cinema. And I just search for whatever movie or TV show, and that gives me basically everything I'm looking for, except for sometimes there are rare cases where I can only see that thing on Netflix. But I pretty much watch media that I follow my heart. If there's a trailer that comes across my way, if I happen to be on Twitter or something, or there's some Instagram ad or something that goes, oh yeah, check out this movie. Then I'll check it out if it resonates with me. So, I don't know. I hope that answers your question. I mean, what are your thoughts? Do you think it's going to be the demise of movie theaters? Do you think we're going to start seeing movie theaters close? Well, I mean, especially now we're starting to see more of them opening up. So, we'll see. Some people don't mind taking the family out and spending $200 that night for their, family of 5. Popcorn, all the candy, all the, for that seat with the kids. $200, I could think of other ways to stretch that and having a really epic day. But some I cannot diminish what that vibe is for folks who just, they have a special place in their heart for the theater. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how it all unfolds.
Hi, this is Steve Peters, and you're listening to Inspirado Projecto.